we're bringing on our first guest, Derrick Barnes, and Derrick is a best-selling children's author, and Derrick was a featured author at the festival. Rhonda, I think it was before you were a literary correspondent, so he may remember what year it was. I'm gonna say 7 or 8 years ago, something like that. He was at the festival. So, and he's written a lot of books since then.
That must have
So,
been right before me because I think I've been correspondent for about 7 years. So
seven
it must
years.
have
Yeah, it was like maybe the year, maybe 8, it may be 9 years because he was when we first got to Fallbrook, like the first couple of years we were at Fallbrook. So we're just waiting on him to come on camera. He had a message. He sent us a message in the chat. But okay, so now he's on the camera. He's
Good
on
evening,
camera.
ladies.
Hi, good
How,
evening.
good evening to you.
Good evening. Now, what
how
does
y'all
your
doing?
t-shirt say? Due to personal reasons, I
You the
can
person,
never give up.
give up. That's right.
All
I
right,
know that's
okay.
right.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
And if you don't give up, you can't lose. That's you have to keep going.
that's
And
right.
a lot of times the reward is way ahead. But if you quit, you won't get there. So
I'll never
that's
get
the
there.
yeah.
I've gotten results that I did not favor so many times that it didn't bother me to lose. I just get up, dust myself off, and get back to it because I'm
I
used to
know that's
winning
right.
every aspect of my life. So, it don't really bother me.
They
Yeah,
say
well,
you
I
either
say
win
it's
or you
not
learn.
losing. It's a lesson. It's not
That's
losing.
right.
It's an
That's right.
That's what I'm
experience.
saying. You either win or you learn.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, you do. So, and we're not gonna win every single time. We want to, but we're not gonna win every single time. Although, we want to. So,
Right.
Derrick, you were at the book festival, at the National Black Book Festival. I was trying to remember what year it was. I think it was about 8 years ago, I'm gonna
Yeah,
say.
yeah. It had to be around the time that Crown and Ode to the Fresh Cut
Yes,
came
it
out.
was.
So that was about 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And you've been writing quite a bit since then. So you have a new book.
Yeah,
Um, do you have a copy of it that you can
I
show us?
do. I
Okay,
do. I
okay.
got you.
All
Yes,
right. I got you. And that's the name of the book. I got you.
I got you. A brother's promise. It came out July 15th. So
Oh,
Okay. So it's been out
congratulations.
about a month.
yeah, yeah, about a month. It's my
And
21st book. So
so are
Wonderful.
all of your books children's books?
yeah, so I'm under contract for like maybe 8 more children's books. I have a middle grade novel coming out September 23rd. And we've been talking about my next step. I want to go back to school, get my PhD. I would like to teach African American literature from like a historical perspective, or I would like to do adult fiction, possibly romance. I want to kind of do something else right now. This has been an amazing run. It's been an extreme blessing. I went like 13 years without anything, really wondering if I should even keep writing. And then 2018 happened and it just changed my life. So it's been an extreme blessing every single day to be able to do what I've been able to do. And so now I'm just thinking about the next stage of my life. I just turned 50 on August the 9th.
Happy
So
birthday.
Okay. Happy
thank you.
birthday.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think in the 50s, things are you the 50s are a decade where we're trying to accomplish what we didn't accomplish in our 40s. That's what.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like it's almost like a race because you start to realize your mortality a little bit more
Oh yeah.
um, when you turn 50. So, but uh, you don't look a day over 40.
Man, I just,
If you didn't have the salt and pepper beard, we probably wouldn't know.
yeah, I'm not for judging anybody. People can do what they want to do, but it always cracks me up when I see brothers dye their facial hair. I mean, really, you just got to drink water, stop all that drinking and smoking, exercise, watch what you put in your mouth. And as long as my body and skin look healthy, I don't mind the gray, man. That's the most
There you
important thing.
go.
This just
Well,
try
you
to live
know,
a
a lot of
clean
people are
life.
embracing their gray. A lot of people
Hmm.
are embracing their gray now. In fact, some people are weaving their hair gray and putting gray braids in because
Yeah, I've
they
seen
want
that.
to embrace the gray.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of young people are doing that, and I
Mhm.
said, "Well, you're doing it now before it actually happens, and when it
Yeah.
happens, you may not be doing it necessarily,
Yeah,
but
I think those will be the people that'll be dying there, possibly.
yeah, yeah. Well, whatever suits you, and
That's
whatever
right.
people do what they feel like they should, or our egos kick in, and we do
That's right.
what makes us feel good. So,
Mhm.
um, and everybody has something different that makes them feel good. If you're healthy, that the main thing is the healthy part, as you
Yeah.
said, watching what you put in your mouth, um, exercising, moving, not
That's
just
right.
not just sitting. Even if your job is sitting, you need to be moving. You need to
Yeah.
intentionally be moving. So you said 13 years you kind of were in the wilderness,
Yeah.
and that's what we tell people as authors. A lot of people don't get there. It takes you 10 years to be an overnight success. That's there's a saying about that, and that's true for a lot of people.
That's right.
So what when you were struggling, or when you hadn't been quote discovered, I would say quote discovered,
Mhm.
what were you writing about, and what were your goals, and why did you keep going? Why did you keep going?
So I always I look at my career in sections. That part of my career before Crown, I really was just trying to get on really. Yeah, I have people reach out to me all the time. Quite a few are really serious about writing. They just look at children's books as maybe another hustle or another stream of income, but they're not serious about writing. And I think before Crown, I don't think it was a hustle, or I was thinking of it as another stream of income, but I wasn't looking at myself as a artist or somebody that can be transformative in this industry. And I wasn't thinking a lot about legacy before Crown happened. So, that was a huge shift in my career. Obviously, it was a book that um, blew my career up. But I just really kind of fell into children's publishing after graduating from Jackson State University, greatest HBCU in the entire universe. In 1999, I landed my first job. Actually, I graduated in May of '99. I got a job in August as the first Black man to write greeting cards for Hallmark cards, and that
Oh,
was like
that's
being,
pretty cool.
yeah, that was like being in graduate school, for me. And I met Gordon C. James, who's actually the illustrator of Crown and I Am Every Good Thing when I was working at Hallmark. And he introduced me to the young lady who's still my literary agent. I've been with her for 21 years now, Regina Brooks of
Okay.
Serendipity Lit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
the first contract, before I met her, I fancied myself a short story writer, a novella artist. But the first contract she came to me with was for two early reader books from it was from Scholastic. They had started an African American imprint called Just Us Books, um, just for us books, not the Hudsons, just us books in New Jersey. But they started an African American imprint. It was a two-book deal. I did it, and it seems like we started having more children, my wife and I. So I just kind of stayed in it. It was my calling. I didn't know it at the time, but I got up to maybe uh, 8 books. Ruby and the Booger Boys was a chapter book series that came out in 2007. It was, you know, moderately successful. And then 2010, published a middle grade novel called, We Could Be Brothers. But I just, I just wasn't making it. I couldn't consider myself a full-time writer, and I was really struggling and very depressed. To be quite honest with you. And we lived in Kansas City, my hometown at the time. We moved to Charlotte, 2014. Still nothing happened, and moved into this house that we're in now. And this is my office behind me. It was completely bare, at the time, and I used to sit on the floor. But between 2010 2016, I wrote like 35 books seemingly that nobody wanted. It was because I was trying to write to the gatekeepers.
Right.
I was trying to write black versions of books that were already, successful. I wrote this vampire uh series called Dracula Jones because the Twilight series was very popular. But
Mhm.
in this very room, I tell this story all the time. My son Solo, who's 20 now, but I think he was like 11, 10. He had just came in from outside. I was sitting on the floor right against that wall, working on maybe my 34th book that nobody wanted. And he said, "Daddy, you know what you should do? You should write the blackest book ever. They're already not publishing you." And then he just walked out of the room. And I tell you, at least 2 or 3 weeks later, I wrote the manuscript for Crown and Ode to the Fresh Cut because that young brother, he reminded me of who I was actually writing for. And to this day, every time I sit down, I think about that little boy in Brooklyn, or I think about that little girl that lives in, Liberty City, or, I think about my end user and how reading books that reflect who they are as human beings can change their lives, can change the way they see themselves, change the way they see themselves in the world. And Solomon making that one statement, reminded me of who I was. And I talk all the time about seeing pictures even of me before Crown happened. I used to show up at author events looking like a damn substitute teacher with the sweater vest on, the tie. Like, it's like I was a storyteller, but I was like, I got to show up in all these spaces as my authentic black self and write for these babies so they can see themselves, regardless of what kind of book bans are going on, regardless of who's in office. You're gonna always be able to count on me as long as I'm writing to create books that show our babies brilliance and show how beautiful they are. And a lot of it started in this room behind me with Solomon saying what he said. Crown changed my life. It won almost every major children's book. So um, it's been a blessing. That's why I have it on the wall across from my desk
I
to look at it
I
every
see
day
it.
to
I do
remind me of
remember
those
We
that
see
cover.
it.
valley years. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
I do
Well,
remember that cover.
out of the mouths of babes, that's biblical. Sometimes
hmm
children, they don't have a filter, and they can see things through their eyes that we're missing, or they
yeah,
can validate things that we're seeing, and we're just thinking, well, maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm seeing something that's really not there or something. And then
yeah.
they'll say something to validate. That's happened to me with my daughter. So I do understand what you're saying. Sometimes they can really shed some light. And even now, even though my daughter's 29, but because she's in a different generation, she can give me some insights into what people are looking at right now,
Yeah.
where something kind of cutting through, or something that I just missed because I'm in a different generation. So, uh,
And
you
also, and
know,
also, and also, these people closest to you, even though they may be children, they know you better than anybody else. I think, the more I think about that interaction,
that is
he
true.
he he had seen me around his house raising him and his three brothers, and me loving on his mother every day. And I talk this pro-black, super black, loving black women, loving black people every day, but my work wasn't a reflection of that. You know what I mean? So he was like, "How come you're not writing this way?" You know what I mean? So
Right.
I thought about that recently, and so I think we have to, one, work on our craft. I talk to writers all the time about really being serious about studying the industry that you want to work in, but also write about what you know and write about what you want to see in the world. And don't try to copy what's already out there.
Absolutely.
A lot of stuff has already been done, but people have not heard your voice. Like, who are you as a black artist? And so, shout out to Brother Solo. He is a senior at the University of Texas at El Paso. He's
Okay.
one of the best safeties in college football. So God willing, he gets drafted next May so he can get his daddy a Porsche or something. That's a little inside joke we've been saying since he was in flag football. So Yeah, I got sons all over the country now. And the house is getting quiet. We only have one son at the house now, so it's
Yeah,
You
well,
know, there was some,
he's in Texas, way far from me though. El Paso's on the other side of Texas.
oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
in Mexico almost, man.
there was
Yes.
something that you mentioned that I wanted to touch on because I think it's important. Um, you said that you wrote 34 books before you were picked up. What
Yeah,
was that driving force that kept you going? And why, how were you able to just keep writing? You know, it wasn't happening for you, but you said, I'm going to continue to write. What was that driving force?
I think a lot of it was my own drive and work ethic, but also from a spiritual standpoint, I figured, God had brought me that far to have 8 published books, and they were published by, Scholastic, Simon and Schuster. I I knew, even though, like I said, I call those my valley years. I still feel like I felt like that wasn't the end of my story. And if I just keep writing, if I just keep working on something. um, I mentioned the Hudson family, Cheryl and Wade Hudson of Just Us Books. Wade, brother Wade, God bless him. I love him so much. He would call me every month, and every time I think about it, I get emotional. But so he would call me every month, and we would talk for like 20 minutes. And at the end of every phone call, he would say, "Son, it's just gonna take one book. It's just gonna take one book." And so, and my wife was always encouraging. Like I said, we met at Jackson State, and she's always been supportive of my work. Plus, I got these 4 little brothers watching me every day. And so what's that old saying? Children pay more attention to what you do than to
To
what
what
you
you
say.
say.
So
Yes.
they are watching me as a black artist trying to make it, stand up to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, working on books. And so I was just very conscious of that. And I was like, man, I know you ain't brought me this far just to leave me here. I felt that every day. Felt that every day. And
Right.
so I just kept on cranking them out. Graphic novels, chapter books, picture books, middle grade novels. I worked at the Kansas City Public Library. I got hired there in
Mm.
2000. I've had so many jobs, man. If it's legal and if it's legal, I probably have done it.
Mm.
But I was working at the Kansas City Public Library during that time, between 2011 2014. I was doing outreach. So I was driving all over the city, reading, doing story time at daycares, elementary school. I did creative writing program at the Juvenile Detention Center in Kansas City, like 3 days a week. And you look back on those periods of time in your life, and I was really struggling. But I look back on, I was like, God was preparing me to get ready
Yes.
to travel and to speak in front of audiences. And just being a very introverted person, I never dreamt I would grow up to be somebody that travels across the country and speak. But during that time, we would go out and do our thing in the morning, and I was using the Kansas City Public Library's resources to work on my books. I can say that now. They can't find. But we go out and do story time and do the creative writing exercises. We would be back about 1, and I would be working on the next books, man. Working on, and a couple of those books have ended up being published since Crown.
Okay.
So never throw away your work. Keep
I
everything.
was about to say, just because it didn't hit doesn't mean that they won't hit later. And you
That's
already
right.
have a huge body of work just waiting to be published now.
Yep. Yep. I don't
Yeah.
throw away anything because it can always be changed. The middle grade novel that's coming out, The Incredibly Human Handsome Blaze, that character was a protagonist in a novel that I wrote in 2012, but we couldn't get that book sold. But I liked him so much that I took his character profile and put it in a separate file and kept it until I came up with the right story. And I thought he would be perfect. So I plucked him out of Philadelphia, where that old story was based, and I put him in Great Mountain, Mississippi, which is a fictional town that the book is based in. So I don't throw away anything, including
Okay.
characters.
Okay. Well, tell us about your new book in the few minutes we
Yes.
have left.
I got
And
you.
you do a lot on brothers, uh,
Hmm.
biological brothers,
Yes.
and their relationships. And you
Hmm.
mentioned in your information you sent that you had a great relationship with your brothers. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, that's a great thing, and you probably have a wealth of information to draw from just
Yeah.
growing up. And then you have four sons, you said.
Hmm. Yeah.
You don't have any daughters?
No, I don't have any daughters. I
Is-
tell people I just make Zulu warriors, man. That's it. That's it. So Ezra's my eldest boy. He's 24. He's in graduate school at Howard.
Okay.
Solo is
Okay.
20. He's the football player at UTEP.
Mm.
Silas, the boy that's on the cover of Crown, is 18, and he's a sophomore now at Xavier University in New Orleans. And then
Okay.
our baby boy, who is he inspired the King of Kindergarten, which was my first New York Times bestseller. He just turned 14. He'll be starting his freshman year in high school this year. So uh,
Okay, great.
yeah,
And Rhonda's from New Orleans, so
okay.
uh
Yeah,
when
yeah. I
she
live down there. We
Yeah,
lived
I'm
down there
from
for
New
like 3 years.
Orleans and I live in DC, so I have two of
Mhm.
your sons covered.
All right. I love
Yeah.
that. Aunties. Yeah,
Yeah.
auntie love, man. We need
Exactly. Exactly. You let them
it.
know if they need anything. They need to get away from the city. We know where
No
to
doubt.
go.
All right. I'm gonna hold you to that. Yeah, but so I was raised in a single parent household. My mother was just a little country girl from Clarksdale, Mississippi. Raised me and my brother Anthony, who's 7 years older than I am, and he was just a perfect big brother for that environment. We grew up in the hood, little 2 bedroom house, and he was just such a great example. He was the first superstar that I met. He's the kind of person even now that people look forward to showing up. When there's a function, when he shows up, the party starts, and we're like polar opposites. I'm jeans and boots, and he's nice suits and cigars. He's a regional manager for a wine company. We are just polar opposites, but he was always, so protective of me and my talents. And he always took me places with him, which was an extreme honor. Whenever your big sibling takes you somewhere to be around their friends, and he still has that energy. And I want to dedicate a book to him, but the catalyst for writing um, I got you happened when Ezra went off to college. At my eldest boy, he went to uh, North Carolina A&T, graduated from A&T
Okay.
last year,
That's cool.
and yeah, we are HBCU family, man. And
Yeah, my
so
daughter went to North Carolina
she
Central.
went. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
My daughter went to Clark Atlanta.
yeah, HBCUs, baby,
Yeah.
rule the world. So when we took Ezra to school, it's so strange that all my boys have different, relationships, with each other. But the two eldest boys, I always said that they were best friends, without actually naming it. The whole time, that's my second eldest boy. He was just so down. And when we finally drove back to Charlotte from Greensboro, he stayed in the park. He stayed in the car with my wife for like 20 minutes crying, man. I had never seen him break down like that. And
Oh,
I mean, if y'all have multiple children, whenever one person leaves the house, it changes the whole, dynamic and
Dynamic.
energy of the house. Yeah.
It
And
does.
so
Mm.
that was the catalyst. I pulled out a lot of different pictures of Ezra and Solomon. I remember when Solomon was born, Ezra was just so excited. We lived in Kenner. He was so excited to go to the hospital and finally meet Solomon, and just how important that relationship is, just that sibling, connection, whether it's your big sister or your big brother or it's the cousin that you call a big sister or brother. Like nobody shares those experience, that you all have. I mean, y'all have a common bond. So, my brother showed me the ropes about everything. He introduced hip hop music to me, uh, showed me how to talk to girls. He was just my world, and then I saw that within my own household, just relationships that these guys have. And I want to write a book about how important it is that men show appreciation and love for other men in their lives, especially their family members. I hadn't seen a book like that. You know what I mean? So I think it's important that we show our sons how important it is to verbally express how you feel about your father, about your brother, about your uncles. It's so important that we have that kind of dialogue, you know, as men amongst each other.
Mhm. Well, I agree with you. I think it's,
Yeah, I think it's
needed.
beautiful, and it's something that's
Mhm.
absolutely very much needed.
Mhm.
Um, one thing that I'm glad to see more of is people concentrating on men's mental health and men's well-being, and as you say, Black boy joy. It's okay for a man to be happy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
so important for men to be happy and also be able to not be ashamed to get counseling when you need it, to have
Exactly.
a,
mhm.
group of brothers that you might meet with, you know, every now and then, once a week or, you know, whatever, and just talk about issues that may be affecting you, you know.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I have a group of friends from college that I consider brothers. I talk to them every week. We don't live in the same city, but I can talk to them about anything. I can call my brother Anthony, talk to him about anything. So, um,
Well,
yeah, I just try
I
to
wish we
model that behavior.
Mhm.
I wish we could talk longer because this is a beautiful conversation, but unfortunately, we've come to the end of the interview. um, but
Mhm.
if you should hold your book up one more time, just to remind us.
I
I
got you.
got
Brothers
you.
from
And it's available wherever books are sold,
Ever
I'm
Books are
sure.
sold. Yes, and please support your local independent bookstore, woman-owned, family-owned, black-owned bookstore. So
Yeah.
extremely important to do that.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you for being a guest on the show. This is your first appearance, and we've had the show for 5 years. Um, and during that time, you've been very busy, and congratulations on your success
Thank
with
y'all
your
very
children's
much.
books and what you're
Thank you.
doing, and your mission is
Yeah.
very important.
Thank y'all
Yes.
for having me. Hopefully I'll be back on. I go on tour starting in September. Penguin has me on a 17 city tour, so I'm gonna be pretty busy. And also, like I said, it's Solomon's senior football season, so I'm gonna be busy. But I would love to come back on the show and talk about Hanson Blaze, you know, if possible. So
Okay, well, I'm sure. Is it with Random House? It's with Penguin Random.
yes,
Okay, okay. So, I'll be in touch with your publicist there, and
okay,
we'll work on getting you scheduled for. It'll be 6 months. We normally like to have at least 6 months between interviews. So,
okay.
um, but congratulations. It's
Thank you very
exciting.
much.
We were there
Thank
in
you.
the beginning when you
Yes,
came
yes,
to
y'all
the
were.
festival. So we're happy to be a part of your journey. So
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you
you're
for
welcome.
being here. God bless you, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you, sister.
Bye
Okay.
bye.
Ha-
Bye bye.
Have a good evening. Bye bye.
You too.